ഹായ് സ്റ്റുഡൻസ്, ഇന്ന് നമ്മൾ മാക്രോ എക്കണോമിക്സിൻ്റെ നോട്ട് ഒരു വീഡിയോ രൂപത്തിൽ തരാൻ പോവുകയാണ്. നിങ്ങളതൊക്കെ എഴുതിയെടുക്കുക, നോട്ട് പ്രത്യേകം എഴുതി പഠിക്കുക. നമുക്ക് ഇനി നോട്ടിലേക്ക് പോകാം. ഫസ്റ്റ് ചാപ്റ്റർ ഇൻട്രൊഡക്ഷൻ ടു മാക്രോ എക്കണോമിക്സ്. ഫസ്റ്റ് ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ, ഡിഫറൻസ് ബിറ്റ്വീൻ മൈക്രോ എക്കണോമിക്സ് ആൻഡ് മാക്രോ എക്കണോമിക്സ്. ഇതൊരു കോളം വരച്ച് ഇങ്ങനെ എഴുതാവുന്നതാണ്. മൈക്രോ എക്കണോമിക്സിൽ ബ്രാഞ്ച് ഓഫ് എക്കണോമിക്സ് വിച്ച് ഡീൽസ് വിത്ത് ഇൻഡിവിജ്വൽ യൂണിറ്റ്സ് ഇൻ ദി എക്കോണമി. മാക്രോ എക്കണോമിക്സ് ഡീൽസ് വിത്ത് aggregates. Microeconomics, income of an individual. Macroeconomics, national income, aggregate demand. Microeconomics, price of a commodity, general price level. Micro, compared to the study of trees, study of forest, gives worm's eye view. Difference between microeconomics and macroeconomics. Microeconomics, branch of economics which deals with individual units in the economy. Macroeconomics deals with aggregates in the economy. Microeconomics, income of an individual. Macroeconomics, national income, aggregate demand. Microeconomics, price of a commodity. Macroeconomics, general price level. Microeconomics, compared to study of trees. Macroeconomics, study of forest. Microeconomics gives worm's eye view. Macroeconomics, bird's eye view. Microeconomics, price theory. Macroeconomics, income theory. Microeconomics, partial equilibrium analysis. Macroeconomics, general equilibrium analysis. Microeconomics, the word micro comes from micros, which means small. The word macro comes from macros, Greek word macros, which means large. Next question, emergence of macroeconomics. Explain the emergence of macroeconomics. Macroeconomics as a separate branch of economics emerged after the British economist James Keynes published his book General Theory of Employment, Interest and Money in 1936. The dominant thinking in economics before Keynes was that all the laborers who are ready to work will find employment. This school of thought is known as the classical theory of employment. However, the Great Depression of 1929 and the subsequent years saw the output and employment fall by huge amounts. In USA, from 1929 to 1933, unemployment rate rose from 3% to 25%. Output in USA fell by about 33%. Keynes' book was an attempt to solve this problem by approaching the economy as a whole. Thus, macroeconomics emerged and became popular. Next question, features of a capitalist economy. First one, there is private ownership of means of production. Second one, aims of production is to sell the output in the market and thereby earn profit. Third one, sale and purchase of labor in the labor market. Labor services is controlled by wage rate. Then fourth one, there is only nominal government intervention in the market. ഇത്രയാണ് features of a capitalist economy. Next question, what are the four major sectors in an economy according to macroeconomic point of view? Macroeconomic point of view 4 മേഖലകളാണ്. ഒന്ന്, ഫേംസ്. Production units which are organized according to capitalist principles can be called firms. They generate wealth, create employment, pay taxes, and play a crucial role in economic growth. Second one, households. Households means a single individual or a group who takes decisions relating to her own consumption. They consume, save, also pay taxes. Then government. Third one, government. The state plays a regulatory role. Example, framing laws and enforce them. Development of social and economic infrastructure, impose taxes, etc. Then external sector. All modern economies are open economies. They have economic relations with other countries. Trade with external sector can be as follows. First one, export of goods and services. Second one, import of goods and services. Third one, flow of capital. The next question, scope of macroeconomics or the subject matter of macroeconomics. First one, it studies theory of national income. Then studies theory of employment. Then third one, studies general price level, inflation and deflation. Fourth one, theory of trade cycles, studies the theory of trade cycle. And fifth one, studies monetary theory, fiscal policy. Then sixth one, money supply and banking. Then studies theory of international trade. Then studies economic growth. ഇത്രയാണ് scope of macroeconomics. Next question, importance of macroeconomics. First one, helps to understand the functioning of the economy. Second one, in comparison of various economies. Third one, useful in planning and forecasting. Fourth one, helpful in studying growth and development. Fifth one, study trade cycle. Sixth one, helps to formulation of economic policies. ഇത്രയാണ് importance of macroeconomics. Next question, economic agent. NCERT ബുക്കിലുള്ളൊരു കോൺസെപ്റ്റാണ്. Economic agent means those individuals or institutions which takes economic decisions. Examples, consumers, producers, government, corporation, banks, etc. Next chapter, national income accounting, second chapter. അതിൽ basic concepts. First one, classify goods. First, final goods, meaning goods used for final consumption and does not pass through any more stages of production is called final goods. Example, clothes, house, shoes, school bags, cycle, food items, TV, motorcycles, etc. Final goods can be divided into two. First one, consumption goods. Goods that are used directly for consumption and does not undergo any other production process again is called consumption goods. Then consumption goods can be classified into first durable goods like TV, refrigerator, car, computer, and another type non-durable goods like milk, egg, vegetables. Then second category, capital goods. Goods which are once produced and does not undergo any transformation but are used again and again for production of other goods are called capital goods. Examples: machinery, factory buildings, roads, tools, etc. Next comes intermediate goods. Goods used as a input for production, producing other goods are called intermediate goods. Example: cotton thread used to make cloth, leather to make shoes, wheat used to make bread. Another question: define depreciation. Depreciation വേറെ പേരാണ് consumption of fixed capital. Depreciationന്റെ മറ്റൊരു പേരാണ് consumption of fixed capital. Depreciation refers to the loss of value of fixed capital due to wear and tear and expected obsolescence. Expenses connected with repair and replacement of capital goods are called depreciation cost. Depreciation എന്താണെന്നുള്ളത് ഒരു ചോദ്യം ഉണ്ടാവും, ഇതുപോലെ നോട്ട് ഉണ്ടാക്കുക. നെക്സ്റ്റ് ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ: ഡിസ്റ്റിംഗ്വിഷ് ബിറ്റ്വീൻ സ്റ്റോക്സ് ആൻഡ് ഫ്ലോസ്. സ്റ്റോക്ക് ഫ്ലോ വ്യത്യാസം. സ്റ്റോക്ക് ഈസ് എ വേരിയബിൾ വിച്ച് ക്യാൻ ബി മെഷേർഡ് അറ്റ് എ പർട്ടിക്കുലർ പോയിന്റ് ഓഫ് ടൈം. ഇറ്റ് ഈസ് എ സ്റ്റാറ്റിക് കോൺസെപ്റ്റ്, has no time limit. Example: money supply, wealth, inventory, bank deposit, food grain stock, foreign exchange reserve, capital, etc. A variable that is measured in a specific period of time is called a flow. It is a dynamic concept and has time limit. Example: national income, changes in inventory, capital formation, imports, exports, etc. Next question: distinguish between gross investment and net investment. Distinguish between gross investment and net investment. That part of final output that comprises capital goods is called gross investment of an economy. These may be machines, tools and implements, buildings, storehouses, roads, bridges, airports, etc. In an economy, the addition to the existing stock of capital is net investment. Net investment അതിൻ്റെ ഒരു ഇക്വേഷൻ ആണ് net investment equal to gross investment minus depreciation. അടുത്തൊരു ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ: ഡിഫൈൻ inventory and explain. Define inventory and explain. The stock of raw materials, semi-finished goods, unsold finished goods which a firm carries from one year to the next is called inventory. Inventory may accumulate or decumulate. Then change in inventory equal to production during the year by a firm minus sales during the year, or closing stock minus opening stock. The deliberate increase in the stock of goods of a firm is called planned accumulation of inventories. The deliberate decrease is called planned decumulation of inventories. The unexpected increase in the stock of goods due to fall in sales is called unplanned accumulation of inventories. The unexpected decrease is called unplanned decumulation of inventories. Increase in inventories are considered as investment. Next question: define net indirect taxes. Indirect taxes increases price of goods also increases. Subsidies reduces cost of production and thereby reduce price of goods. indirect taxes paid by a firm minus the subsidies received by it is called net indirect taxes. NIT എന്നാണ് സിമ്പിൾ കൊടുക്കുക. Net indirect tax NIT equal to indirect taxes minus subsidies. Next question, define net factor income from abroad, NFI. It is the difference between factor income earned by the domestic factors of production employed in the rest of the world and factor income earned by factors of production of the rest of the world employed in the domestic economy. That is the net factor income from abroad. Then next question, define transfer payments, TP. Briefly TP na kodukkunna. Transfer payments are the unilateral payments. It is the payments made by an individual, institutions or government to another individual, institution or government. Example, taxes, subsidies, scholarships, unemployment pensions, old age pensions, donations, etc. Current transfer payments are payments made for current consumption. Example, taxes, scholarships. Capital transfer are payments made for capital formation. Example, financial assistance to production units. Next question, explain the circular flow of income in a two-sector economy. Then it is the pictorial illustration of the interdependence, interrelationships and interdependence among the different sectors of the economy. The simple two-sector model is based on the following assumptions. താഴെ പറയുന്ന സങ്കല്പങ്ങൾ. First one, there are only two sectors in the economy, households and firms. Second one, households supply factor services and the firm buys it. Third one, households spend their entire income on consumption. Fourth one, firm sells their entire output to the households. Fifth one, it is a closed economy without government. The two-sector model is given in the following diagram. ഈ ഡയഗ്രാം ഇതുപോലെ വരയ്ക്കുന്നതാണ്. 4 ഫ്ലോകളുണ്ട്. സ്പെൻഡിങ് എന്ന് കാണാം ഏറ്റവും ടോപ്പിൽ. രണ്ടാമത്തത് ഗുഡ്സ് ആൻഡ് സർവീസസ് എന്നുള്ള ഫ്ലോ. മൂന്നാമത്തെ ഫ്ലോ ഫാക്ടർ പേയ്മെൻറ്റ്സ്, ഫാക്ടർ സർവീസസ്. മുകളിൽ ഗുഡ്സ് മാർക്കറ്റ് എന്ന് കാണാം, താഴത്ത് ഫാക്ടർ മാർക്കറ്റ്. ഇതാണ് സർക്കുലർ ഫ്ലോ ചിത്രീകരണം. ഇതിൻ്റെ എക്സ്പ്ലനേഷൻ, the firms produces goods and services using the factor services from the household and sells the output to the households. There are 4 flows in the circular flow of income. First one, the flow of goods and services. Second, the flow of factor services. These two are called real flow. Third one, the flow of factor payments, and fourth one, the flow of spending. മൂന്നും നാലും അറിയപ്പെടുന്നത് they called money flow. This simple two-sector model has 2 markets also. First one, product market, market for goods and services. Second one, factor market, market for factors of production. നെക്സ്റ്റ് പ്രധാനപ്പെട്ട ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ ആണ്, എക്സ്പ്ലെയിൻ ദി മെഷർമെൻറ്റ് ഓഫ് നാഷണൽ ഇൻകം. 8 മാർക്കിന് ചോദ്യം വരും. 8 മാർക്കിന് ചോദ്യം, എക്സ്പ്ലെയിൻ ദ മെഷർമെൻറ്റ് ഓഫ് നാഷണൽ ഇൻകം. There are 3 methods of measurement of national income. They are, first one, product method or value added method. Second one, income method. Third one, expenditure method. First one, value added method അല്ലെങ്കിൽ product method. According to this method, we measure national income by adding all the final goods and services produced by each firms in the economy during a financial year. To avoid double counting, we use value added method. First we calculate gross value of output, that is GVO, equal to gross output multiplied their market prices. Then calculate gross value added, that is GVA, equal to gross value added equal to GVO, gross value of output, minus value of intermediate consumption. Under value added method, we calculate national income by adding gross value added of all firms in the economy during a financial year. We assume that there are n number of firms in the economy, then the national income can be written as follows: GDP identically equal to GVA1 plus GVA2 plus etc. plus GVAN. Therefore, GDP identically equal to sigma I is equal to 1 to n GVAI. Then NVAI, net value added, identical equal to GVAI minus DI. DI means depreciation, that is NDP. That is NDP identically equal to sigma I is equal to 1 to n NVAI, net value added. Then second method, expenditure method. According to this method, GDP is calculated by adding the final expenditure in the economy. The final expenditures are first one, final consumption expenditure; second one, the final investment expenditure; third one, the government expenditure; fourth one, net export expenditure. Then we subtract imports expenditure M from the sum C plus I plus G plus X. Then GDP can be written as follows: GDP identically equal to sigma I is equal to 1 to n CI plus sigma I is equal to 1 to n II plus sigma I is equal to 1 to n GI plus sigma I is equal to 1 to n Xi minus sigma M, or GDP identically equal to C plus I plus G plus X minus M. And third one, income method. Under this method, national income is calculated by adding all the factor incomes received by owners of factors of production, that is land get rent RI, labor gets wages WI, capital gets interest INI, entrepreneurship gets profit PI. Thus, GDP can be written as follows: GDP identically equal to sigma I is equal to 1 to n WI plus sigma I is equal to 1 to n RI plus sigma I is equal to n INI plus sigma I is equal to 1 to n PI, or GDP is equal to W plus R plus IN plus P. Therefore, as per income method, the GDP of an economy is the sum total of wages, rent, interest and profit received by all the factors of production. ഈ വേറൊരു ചോദ്യമാണ് ബജറ്റ് ഡെഫിസിറ്റ് ആൻഡ് ട്രേഡ് ഡെഫിസിറ്റ്. GDP ഈക്വൽ ടു C പ്ലസ് S പ്ലസ് T. GDPയെ നമുക്ക് എങ്ങനെ എഴുതാം? വരുമാനം ചെലവഴിക്കുന്നു, കൺസംഷനും S സമ്പാദ്യം, T ടാക്സ്. എക്സ്പെൻഡിച്ചർ മെത്തേഡ് പ്രകാരം GDP ഐഡൻറ്റിക്കൽ ഈക്വൽ ടു C പ്ലസ് I പ്ലസ് G പ്ലസ് X മൈനസ് M. ഇത് രണ്ടും ഒരുമിച്ച് ചെയ്താണെങ്കിൽ GDP രണ്ടും തുല്യമാണ്. C പ്ലസ് I പ്ലസ് G പ്ലസ് X മൈനസ് M ഈക്വൽ ടു C പ്ലസ് S പ്ലസ് T എന്ന് എഴുതാം. I പ്ലസ് G പ്ലസ് X മൈനസ് M ഐഡൻറ്റിക്കൽ ഈക്വൽ ടു S പ്ലസ് T എന്ന് എഴുതാം. I is equal to S plus G minus T is equal to M minus X. Here G minus T is equal to budget deficit, M minus X is equal to trade deficit. If there is no government, non-foreign trade, then G is equal to T is equal to M is equal to X is equal to 0. Hence I is equal to S. ഇത് ക്ലാസ് നമ്മൾ എടുത്തു കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ടുണ്ട്. ഇതുപോലെ എഴുതുക, ഈ പറഞ്ഞ പോലെ എഴുതുക. അടുത്ത ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ, സം മാക്രോ എക്കണോമിക് ഐഡൻറ്റിറ്റീസ്. ഫസ്റ്റ് വൺ, ഗ്രോസ് നാഷണൽ പ്രോഡക്റ്റ് GNP. GNP equal to GDP plus net factor income from abroad, NFI. GDP plus NFIA. Second, GNPFC is equal to GNPMP minus net indirect taxes. Third one, net national product NNP equal to GNP minus depreciation. Then fourth one, NNPFC equal to NNPMP minus net indirect taxes. Then fifth one, GDPMP equal to GNP minus NFI, net factor income from abroad. Sixth one, GDPFC equal to GDPMP minus net indirect taxes. Then seventh one, NDPMP equal to GDPMP minus depreciation. Eighth one, NDPFC equal to NDPMP minus net indirect taxes. Ninth one, personal income, PI. It is the income available to persons from all sources. And the സമവാക്യം, personal income equal to national income NNPFC ആണ്, national income minus undistributed profit minus net interest payment by household minus corporate taxes plus transfer payments. Then personal disposable income, PDI. Income which individuals and households can spend as they wish is called personal disposable income, PDI. And PDI equal to PI minus personal taxes, tax payments plus personal non-tax payments. Then next one, private income. സ്വകാര്യ മേഖലയിൽ ഉൽപ്പാദിപ്പിക്കുന്ന വരുമാനമാണ് private income. Factor income from net domestic product accruing to the private sector plus national debt interest plus NFIA, net factor income from abroad, from the rest of the world. NFI plus current transfer from government plus other net transfers from the rest of the world. Then national disposable income, NDI, NNPMP plus other current transfers from the rest of the world. Goods and prices. GDP is affected by changes in price level and quantity of output. GDP at current prices is called nominal GDP. Current prices are the prices prevailing the year of production. GDP at constant prices is called real GDP. Then GDP deflator, it is a good index for measuring price level. It is the ratio of nominal GDP to real GDP. GDP deflator കാണാനുള്ള സമവാക്യമാണ് GDP deflator equal to nominal GDP divided by real GDP into 100. അത് GDP and welfare എന്നുള്ള ചോദ്യമാണ്. ഇതൊരു 4 മാർക്ക് 5 മാർക്ക് ചോദ്യമായിരിക്കും. Explain the relationship between GDP and welfare. Explain the relationship between GDP and welfare. ഇത് പ്രധാനപ്പെട്ട ഒരു ചോദ്യമാണ്, പ്രത്യേകം പഠിച്ചിരിക്കുക. GDP can be considered as an index of welfare of people, but GDP and its growth rate alone cannot be considered as an index of development. There can be situations where GDP growth does not lead to promotion of welfare. The following points will justify these arguments. First one, inequality of income. If the GDP of the country is rising, the welfare may not rise because the rise in GDP may be considered concentrated in the hands of very few individuals. In such cases, welfare cannot increase. Therefore, in this context, GDP is not a good indicator of welfare. And second one, GDP and non-monetary exchanges. Many of the non-monetary exchanges are not included in the GDP. Example, the services of housewives, the barter exchanges. To this extent, GDP is inadequate to measurement of welfare. Third point, GDP and harmful goods. The production of cigarettes and alcohol is included in GDP. If production of tobacco and alcohol is increased, GDP will go up and welfare decreases. Therefore, GDP cannot be as an index of welfare. Then fourth one, GDP and externalities. Externalities refers to the benefits or harms a firm or an individual causes to another for which they are not paid. Example, if a good road is constructed through an area, the value of land goes up. This is a beneficial externality. If a chemical factory is set up in an area and it pollutes the nearby river, it is negative harmful externality. While calculating GDP, the externalities are not considered. Therefore, GDP is not a good indicator of welfare. Third chapter, money and banking. What is money? First question. Money is the commonly accepted medium of exchange. According to Walker, money is what money does. Next question, what is barter system? What are its drawbacks? Barter system എന്താണ് അതിൻ്റെ പ്രയാസങ്ങൾ എന്തൊക്കെ പോരായ്മകൾ? The system in which one commodity is exchanged for another is called barter system. Difficulties of barter system. First one, absence of double coincidence of funds. Barter system works smoothly only if the wants of the buyer and seller coincide. Second one, absence of common measure of value. Different goods are exchanged on different measure of value. Then third one, lack of store of value. Non-durable commodities cannot be stored for a long time. They also require a lot of storing space. Fourth one, lack of standard of deferred payment. Future payments like lending and borrowing is very difficult. Value of money change in future. Fifth one, problem of divisibility. Some goods cannot be divided. Example, a cow for a bag of paddy, if only half a bag of paddy is needed, the cow cannot be divided. Then question, what are the functions of money? 4 മാർക്കിനൊക്കെ ചോദ്യം വരുന്നതാണ്. What are the functions of money? Medium of exchange. In modern times, money acts as the medium of exchange. Now we can sell the goods with us and convert it into money. Then using this money, we can purchase any goods or services. The functions, first one, a measure of value, a unit of account. Money is used to measure the value of goods and services. When the value of goods and services is expressed in the form of money, it is called price. Thus, money becomes a unit of account. Then third one, store of value. Wealth can be stored in the form of money. Thus, money serves as an asset or store of value. Currency held by the people or demand deposit in banks are examples of store of value. Then fourth one, a standard of deferred payment. Deferred payments means payments which are to be made in future. Money is the unit of account in contracts that involves future payments. The lending and borrowing is done using money. The concept interest is used to solve the problem in future payments. Fifth one, transfer of value. Sale and purchase of goods, property, etc. results in the transfer of value from one person to another. Next question, explain demand for money. പണത്തിൻ്റെ ചോദനം വിശദീകരിക്കാം. The desire of a person to hold money in hands is called demand for money. Money is the most liquid asset, so people hold money. When money is kept with them, people consider the advantages of liquidity and the disadvantages of interest foregone, the opportunity cost of holding money. People's desire to keep money with them is called liquidity preference or demand for money. People hold money for three purposes. First one, the transaction motive. Second one, the speculative motive. Third one, precautionary motive. First one, the transaction motive. People keeping cash in their hands to buy goods and services daily is known as transaction demand for money. How much money should we keep? This depends on the value of or the volume of transaction. As value of transaction increases, the transaction demand for money also increases. The transaction demand for money of an economy is a fraction of the total volume of transaction over a period of time. It can be written as MTD equal to K into T, where MTD equal to transaction demand for money, T equal to total volume value of transaction, then K is equal to positive fraction, a positive fraction. K is equal to MTD divided by T എന്ന് എഴുതാം. K is the inverse of velocity of circulation of money. Velocity of circulation of money is the number of times a unit money changes hands during a period of time. MTD is equal to K into T. Therefore, 1 by K into MTD is equal to T. V is equal to velocity of circulation. V is equal to 1 by K. V into MTD is equal to T എന്ന് എഴുതാം. Therefore, MTD is equal to T by V. MTD, transaction demand for money. MTD and velocity of circulation of money are negatively related. It is important to study the relationship between GDP and total transaction demand for money in a year. Transaction demand for money increases as GDP increases. Therefore, it can be written mathematically as follows. MTD is equal to KP by KPY, where P equal to general price level, Y equal to real GDP. It shows a positive relationship between MTD and real GDP and price level. Second one, the speculative motive, MSD. MSD speculative motive. MSD is the desire of the people or institutions to hold money in their hands for speculative purpose. People hold a portion of their income to purchase assets like land, bullion, bonds, etc. When their prices are low and sell them, their prices rise in order to gain profit. This is called speculation. For simplicity, all forms of assets are clubbed together into a single category called bonds. Bonds are the promissory notes of a future stream of monetary returns over a period of time. There is an inverse relationship between speculative demand for money and rate of interest. When the rate of interest is very high, everyone expects it to fall in future and the price of bond to go up. Hence, people convert their money into bonds to capital gain from bonds. Thus, the MSD is low at high interest rate. When interest rate comes down, people expect interest rate to rise and price of bond fall in future. Thus, they convert their bonds into money to avoid capital loss. And MSD increases high. So, speculative demand for money can be written as follows. MSD equal to R max minus R all divided by R minus R minimum, where MSD equal to speculative demand for money, R equal to market rate of interest, R max is equal to maximum interest rate, R minimum equal to minimum interest rate. Then liquidity trap. Liquidity trap is the situation in which the speculative demand for money is perfectly elastic, infinite, where the rate of interest is minimum. The following table explains liquidity trap. OX-axis speculative demand for MSD, Y-axis interest rate കൊടുത്തിരിക്കുന്നു, R maximum, R minimum. ഇതുപോലെ വരയ്ക്കാവുന്നതാണ്. ഇത് വീഡിയോ പോസ് ചെയ്ത് വരയ്ക്കുക. When R equal to R minimum, the economy reaches liquidity trap. Everyone is sure of future rise in interest rate and fall in bond price. When interest rate is minimum, everyone expect it to rise in future and hold their money. So speculative demand for money is infinite. Third one, precautionary motive. People hold money for meeting unexpected contingencies of life. This is known as precautionary motive. Then aggregate demand for money. In an economy, the total demand for money, MD, consists of transaction demand, MTD, and speculative demand, MSD. So it can be written as follows. MD equal to MTD plus MSD equal to MD equal to M KPY plus R maximum minus R all divided by R minus R minimum. Next one, the supply of money. Money supply refers to the total amount of money available in the economy. It is the total volume of money held at a specific point of time by the public, businessmen and firms for a transaction. Money supply indicates the total purchasing power in the economy. Next question, 4 മാർക്ക് ചോദ്യം വരുന്നതാണ്. What are the measures of money supply in India by RBI? Different measures by RBI. Then RBI publishes 4 different measures of money supply, that is M1, M2, M3, M4 in 1977. They are as follows. M1 equal to CU plus DD. M2 is equal to M1 plus saving deposit with post office saving banks. M3 M1 plus net time deposits of commercial banks. M4, M3 plus total deposit with post office, saving organization, excluding NSC. M1 and M2 are known as narrow money. M3 and M4 broad money. M1 known as most liquid. M4 known as least liquid. M3 known as most commonly used measure of money supply in India. It is also known as aggregate monetary resources. അടുത്ത ഒരു പ്രധാന ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ ആണ്, വാട്ട് ആർ ദി ഫങ്ഷൻസ് ഓഫ് കമേഴ്സ്യൽ ബാങ്ക്സ്? വാട്ട് ആർ ദി ഫങ്ഷൻസ് ഓഫ് കമേഴ്സ്യൽ ബാങ്ക്സ് പ്രധാനപ്പെട്ടാണ്. 8 മാർക്കിൻ്റെ എസ് ഒക്കെ വരുന്നതാണ്. Commercial banks accept deposits from public and gives loans. In the modern economy, commercial banks have important role to play. The important functions are the following. First one, primary functions, accepting deposits. One of the important function of commercial bank is accepting deposits. First one is saving deposits. Second, current deposit, demand deposit. C, fixed deposit, time deposit. Fixed deposit and time deposit എന്ന് അറിയപ്പെടും. Second function, lending money, giving loans or giving credit. Banks will lend money to the public out of the deposit they have. Cash credit, demand loans, CAL loans, overdraft, personal loans, housing loans are different types of loans. Then discounting of bills of exchange. Then credit creation, fourth one. A person approaches a bank for a loan. The bank sanction loan, but the loan amount is not given directly to the borrower. Instead, it is deposited in the name of the same borrower. Thus, every loan creates a deposit, and deposit creates loan. This process is known as credit creation. Then fifth function, investment. Investment of funds. Banks are bound by law to invest a part of their deposits in government approved securities. Then agency functions, transfer of funds, collection of money through check, draft, etc. Collection of dividends, shares and interest on bonds, etc. Then execution of standing orders, bill amount, insurance premiums, etc. Purchase and sale of shares and bonds, executes wills of customers. കസ്റ്റമേഴ്സിൻ്റെ വിൽപത്രം എക്സിക്യൂട്ട് ചെയ്യുന്നു. ബി, ജനറൽ യൂട്ടിലിറ്റി ഫങ്ഷൻസ്, മിസലേനിയസ് ഫങ്ഷൻസ് എന്ന് പറയും. പർച്ചേസ് ആൻഡ് സെയിൽ ഓഫ് ഫോറിൻ കറൻസീസ്, ഇഷ്യൂ ഓഫ് ട്രാവലേഴ്സ് ചെക്സ്, ഗിഫ്റ്റ് ചെക്സ്, എക്സെട്ര. പ്രൊവൈഡിംഗ് ലോക്കർ ഫെസിലിറ്റി, ഗിവിംഗ് ലെറ്റേഴ്സ് ഓഫ് ക്രെഡിറ്റ്, underwriting of financial securities like shares during public issue. Issue of ATM cards, credit cards, debit cards, telebanking, internet banking. Then development functions, loans to the weaker sections at low interest rate, loans to the unemployed to find employment, giving loans to infrastructure development, loans for priority sector. അടുത്തൊരു പ്രധാനപ്പെട്ട ചോദ്യമാണ്, വാട്ട് ആർ ദി ഫങ്ഷൻസ് ഓഫ് സെൻട്രൽ ബാങ്ക്? ദ സെൻട്രൽ ബാങ്ക് ഈസ് ദ അപ്പെക്സ് ഇൻസ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂഷൻസ് ഓഫ് എ കൺട്രി മോണിറ്ററി സിസ്റ്റം. India's central bank is RBI, Reserve Bank of India, 1935. The important functions are issue of currency. RBI prints all currency except 1 rupee notes and coins. 1 rupee notes and coins are issued by Finance Ministry. Second, Bankers Bank. Second function, Bankers Bank. It controls commercial banks and other financial institutions. Banker to the government. Central bank performs all the banking business of government. It also advises the government on monetary matters. Collection of controller of money supply. Controller of money supply. The central bank controls the total size of money supply and credit. It maintains economic stability by changing bank rates, cash reserves ratio, etc. Monetary policy, different monetary policy measures, അതൊരു essay ആയിട്ടൊക്കെ വരുന്നതാണ്, വേറെ ചോദ്യം ഉണ്ടാവും. Then custodian of foreign exchange. In India, custodian of foreign exchange reserve and gold reserves is RBI, Reserve Bank of India. Then lender of last resort. The Reserve Bank of India helps commercial banks when it faces financial crisis. So RBI is known as lender of last resort. അവസാന കൈക്ക് സഹായിക്കുക. The National Clearing House. Banks to bank clearing and settlements. Mutual claims of commercial banks are allowed done by RBI. ബാങ്കുകൾ തമ്മിലുള്ള ട്രാൻസാക്ഷൻ ഒക്കെ ക്ലിയർ ചെയ്യുന്നത് RBI ആണ്. Then publication of reports. In India, RBI publishes reports on banking, currency, finance and macroeconomy. അടുത്തൊരു പ്രധാന ചോദ്യമാണ്, what are the instruments of monetary policy by RBI? Different policies of credit control by RBI. ഇങ്ങനെയും വരാം. 8 മാർക്കിൻ്റെ ഒക്കെ ചോദ്യമാണ്, പ്രധാനപ്പെട്ടാണ്. Measures taken by the monetary authority RBI to control supply money and credit is called monetary policy. The main objectives of monetary policy are price stability, reduction of unemployment and economic growth. The most important monetary policy instruments are the following. First one, bank rate. Bank rate മാറ്റം വരുത്തുക. Repo rate, reverse repo rate. Repo rate is the rate at which the central bank lends money to the commercial banks. Reverse repo rate is the rate at which RBI borrows money from bank. During times of inflation, the RBI will raise the bank rate, thereby raising the cost of fund. It will reduce aggregate demand and control inflation. During depression, the bank rate will reduce. Varying reserve deposit ratios. During inflation, by increasing reserve ratios, CRR, SLR, credit availability is reduced and thereby money supply is reduced. During deflation or depression, CRR and SLR are reduced and bank lending capacity increases. Then open market operation. OMO. Open market operation means the purchase and sale of government securities in the open market by RBI. During inflation, RBI sells securities. The securities are mainly bought by commercial banks and public. This reduces the money balance with them. Thus, the commercial banks' lending capacity reduces. During depression, RBI buy back the security. Then money comes back to the commercial bank and public. Money supply increases and aggregate demand increases. The following table shows this. Monetary policy കാണിക്കുന്നൊരു ടേബിളാണ്. ഫസ്റ്റ് കോളത്തിൽ ഇൻസ്ട്രുമെൻറ്റ്സ് ആണ്. ബാങ്ക് റേറ്റ്, ക്യാഷ് റിസർവ് റേഷ്യോ, സ്റ്റാറ്റ്യൂട്ടറി ലിക്വിഡിറ്റി റേഷ്യോ, ഓപ്പൺ മാർക്കറ്റ് ഓപ്പറേഷൻ. അതാണ് ഫസ്റ്റ് കോളം. ഇനി ഇൻഫ്ലേഷനുള്ള സമയത്ത് ബാങ്ക് റേറ്റ് എന്ത് ചെയ്യുന്നു, ഡിഫ്ലേഷനുള്ള സമയത്ത് എന്ത് ചെയ്യുന്നു കാണിക്കുന്നു. ബാങ്ക് റേറ്റ് ഇൻഫ്ലേഷനുള്ള സമയത്ത് ഇൻക്രീസസ്, ഡിഫ്ലേഷൻ ആണെങ്കിൽ ഡിപ്രഷൻ ആണെങ്കിൽ ഡിക്രീസസ്. CRR ഇൻഫ്ലേഷൻ സമയത്ത് ഇൻക്രീസസ്, ഡിഫ്ലേഷൻ സമയത്ത് ഡിക്രീസസ്. SLR ഇൻഫ്ലേഷൻ സമയത്ത് ഇൻക്രീസസ്, ഡിഫ്ലേഷൻ സമയത്ത് ഓർ ഡിപ്രഷൻ സമയത്ത് ഡിക്രീസസ്. ഓപ്പൺ മാർക്കറ്റ് ഓപ്പറേഷൻ ഇൻഫ്ലേഷൻ സമയത്ത് സെൽസ് സെക്യൂരിറ്റീസ്, ഡിപ്രഷൻ സമയത്ത് ബൈസ് ഗവൺമെൻറ് സെക്യൂരിറ്റീസ്. അടുത്ത് ഫോർത്ത് ചാപ്റ്റർ, ഇൻകം ഡിറ്റർമിനേഷൻ. ഇതിൽ ഫസ്റ്റ് എക്സ് ആൻഡ് ആൻഡ് എക്സ്പോസ്റ്റ് എന്നുള്ള ഒരു ആശയം പഠിക്കണം. The word ex ante means planned. In order to predict about the GDP of a country next year, knowledge about the planned demand and supply of goods and services are essential. The actual or realized value of variable is called exposed value. In this chapter, we discuss about the ex ante income determination in a two-sector economy. ഇതിലൊരു പ്രധാനപ്പെട്ട ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ ആണ്, വാട്ട് ആർ ദി കോമ്പണൻസ് ഓഫ് അഗ്രി ഡിമാൻഡ്? അഗ്രി ഡിമാൻഡിൻ്റെ ഘടകങ്ങൾ ഏതൊക്കെ? അഗ്രി ഡിമാൻഡ് ഈസ് ദ ടോട്ടൽ ഡിമാൻഡ് ഫോർ ഗുഡ്സ് ആൻഡ് സർവീസസ് ഇൻ ദി എക്കോണമി. In a four-sector economy, the components of agri demands in the ex ante sense are, first one, ex ante private consumption expenditure, C എന്ന് പേര് കൊടുക്കുന്നു. ex ante private final investment expenditure, I എന്നാണ് പേര് കൊടുക്കുക. Third one, ex ante government expenditure, and fourth one, ex ante net export, X minus M. These are explained below. First one, ex ante consumption. People spend a part of their income on consumption and save the rest. Symbolically, Y is equal to C plus S. The relationship between consumption and income is called consumption function. The ratio of change in consumption to change in income is called marginal propensity to consume, MPC. MPC symbolically എഴുതാം, is equal to delta C divided by delta Y. The rate of change in saving to change in income is called marginal propensity to save, MPS. MPS equal to delta S divided by delta Y. Suppose MPC of an economy is C, where 0 less than C less than 1, then total consumption is C equal to C into Y minus 0 is equal to C into C is equal to CY. We have to add minimum consumption to the above equation. It becomes C is equal to C bar plus CY, where C bar equal to C greater than 0 is the minimum level of consumption, autonomous consumption. If Y is equal to 0, C will be equal to C bar. ഇതാണ് കൺസംഷൻ ഫംഗ്ഷൻ്റെ സമവാക്യമാണിത്. C is equal to C bar plus CY. ഒരു എക്സാമ്പിൾ നിങ്ങൾ ചെയ്യുക. C is equal to 20 plus 0.8Y. Construct consumption table and consumption curve. ഇത് ഉപയോഗിച്ചിട്ട് നിങ്ങൾ ഒരു ടേബിൾ ഉണ്ടാക്കുക, കൺസംഷൻ ടേബിൾ, ഇൻകം, ഓരോ ഇൻകം ലെവലിലും എത്ര കൺസംഷൻ ഉണ്ട് എന്ന് കാണിക്കുന്ന ഒരു ടേബിൾ തയ്യാറാക്കുക. Then ex ante investment. Investment is defined as the addition to the stock of physical capital and changes in inventory of the producers in the economy. Investment mainly depends on the rate of interest and marginal efficiency of capital, MEC. MEC is the expected annual return of an additional unit of investment. However, for simplicity, we assume that I is constant, investment is constant, autonomous investment. That is I is equal to I bar. The total government expenditure G and total net export expenditure. Then ex ante agri demand in a two-sector economy consists of ex ante consumption C and ex ante investment. അതുകൊണ്ട് AD is equal to consumption plus investment. AD is equal to C plus I എന്ന് എഴുതാം. C എന്താണ് നമുക്കറിയാം, C is equal to C bar plus CY and I is equal to I bar. Then AD is equal to C bar plus I bar plus C into Y. If the final goods market is in equilibrium, AD is equal to AS, S equal to AD, or Y is equal to AD, this can be written as Y equal to C bar plus I bar plus C into Y. This equation can be further simplified by adding up the two autonomous terms C bar and I bar as A bar. C bar I bar A bar എന്ന് പേര് കൊടുക്കുകയാണ്. That is Y is equal to A bar plus C into Y, or Y is equal to A bar divided by 1 minus C. ഒരു എക്സാമ്പിൾ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ചെയ്യാവുന്നതാണ്. C is equal to 20 plus 0.8Y and I is equal to 20. Construct AD schedule and curve and final income. And find equilibrium income. ഈ സമവാക്യം ഉപയോഗിച്ചിട്ട് ഈ ഒരു ഡാറ്റ ഉപയോഗിച്ചിട്ട് നമ്മൾ ആഗ്രിഗേറ്റ് ഡിമാൻഡ് കണ്ടുപിടിക്കുക, ആഗ്രിഗേറ്റ് ഡിമാൻഡ് ഷെഡ്യൂൾ ഉണ്ടാക്കുക, ഇക്വിലിബ്രിയം കണ്ടുപിടിക്കുക. അടുത്തൊരു എസ്സേ ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ ആണ്. എക്സ്പ്ലെയിൻ ദ ഡിറ്റർമിനേഷൻ ഓഫ് ഇക്വിലിബ്രിയം ഇൻകം ആൻഡ് ഔട്ട്പുട്ട് ഇൻ എ 2 sector എക്കോണമി, ഇൻ എ സിമ്പിൾ എക്കോണമി. ഒരു എസ്സേ ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ 8 മാർക്കിൻ്റെ ചോദ്യമാണ്. ഇതിൻ്റെ ആൻസർ ഇങ്ങനെ പോകാം. In a 2 sector economy, the equilibrium income and output are determined by effective demand. Effective demand is a situation in which ex ante aggregate demand and ex ante aggregate supply become equal. Mathematically, equilibrium AS equal to AD or Y is equal to AD. Y is equal to A bar plus CY or Y is equal to A bar divided by 1 minus C. C എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് MBCയെ സൂചിപ്പിക്കുന്നതാണ്. The following diagram explains this. ഈ ഡയഗ്രത്തിൽ വരയ്ക്കുക. ഇവിടെ എക്സ് ആക്സിസിൽ ഇൻകം ആണ് Y, ഇൻകം ആണ് എക്സ് ആക്സിസിൽ. Y ആക്സിസിൽ ആഗ്രിഗേറ്റ് ഡിമാൻഡ് ആണ്. 45 ഡിഗ്രി ലൈനാണ് ആഗ്രിഗേറ്റ് സപ്ലൈ കാണിക്കുന്നത്. 45 ഡിഗ്രി ലൈനാണ്. എ ഡി കർവ് എസ് കർവ് മുട്ടുന്ന പോയിന്റ് ഇ ആണ്. അവിടെയാണ് ഇക്വിലിബ്രിയം കാണിക്കുന്നത്. ഇതുപോലെ വരയ്ക്കുക. ഇതിൻ്റെ എക്സ്പ്ലനേഷൻ പറയാം. ഇൻ ദി ഡയഗ്രാം ex ante income is marked on x-axis and aggregate demand on y-axis. 45 degree line Y is equal to AD is the AS line. AD is more than AS before income level Y star. After income level Y star, AD is less than AS. At point E, AD is equal to AS. Is the equilibrium level of income.